Have you ever heard someone say, I've lived here for 5 years, but then someone else says, I've lived here since 2020, and later they say, I moved here 3 years ago?
Three different words talking about time. But why can't we use the same one every time?
If you've ever wondered, should I say for, since, or ago? You're definitely not alone. Millions of English learners mix these 3 words up every single day.
And honestly, one small mistake can make your English sound unnatural.
But don't worry, today's lesson will make everything simple. No confusing grammar rules, no boring textbook explanations, just real English, real conversations, and examples you'll actually remember.
By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly when to use for, since, and ago like a native English speaker.
So grab a cup of coffee, relax, and let's learn English together. Let's start with the first word, for.
I hear this word all the time, but I never know exactly when to use it.
That's because for has many meanings in English. But today, we're focusing on one very important meaning: duration of time.
Duration?
Yes, duration means how long something continues. Think of for as answering one simple question: how long?
Oh, so if someone asks, how long have you lived here? I could answer, I've lived here for 5 years.
Exactly. 5 years is a period of time, so we use for. I've studied English for 2 years.
I waited for 30 minutes.
We've been friends for a long time.
My parents have lived here for 20 years.
Notice something. After for, we usually have a length of time: 5 minutes, 2 hours, 3 weeks, 1 month, 10 years, a long time, a short time.
So whenever I see a period of time, I should start thinking about for.
Exactly. Ryan, how long have you been learning English?
I've been learning English for 3 years.
Very nice. How long have you lived in your city?
I've lived here for 8 years.
Perfect. Both answers tell us how long. Native speakers use for every day. Listen to these examples. I'm going away for a week. I've been busy for the last few days. We talked for hours. She slept for 10 hours.
These all sound very natural.
Complete the sentence. I've known my best friend blank 10 years.
For. I've known my best friend for 10 years.
Excellent. Next one. We waited blank 20 minutes. For.
We waited for 20 minutes.
Perfect. You're doing great.
Okay, for answers how long. That makes sense. But then why do native speakers sometimes say, I've lived here since 2020, instead of for 2020?
Excellent question. Because since doesn't tell us how long. It tells us when everything started. And that's exactly what we're learning next. Now, let's move to our second word, since.
This is where I usually get confused, because both for and since often appear in the same kind of sentences.
You're right. But here's the easiest way to remember it. For answers, how long? Since answers, since when?
Oh, so since tells us the starting point.
Exactly. Imagine today is 2026. If I say, I've lived here since 2020, I'm telling you exactly when my life here started.
Not how long, just the beginning.
Perfect. I've known Sarah since high school.
We've been friends since 2018.
He has worked here since January.
I haven't seen him since Monday.
Notice something important. After since, we usually use a year, a month, a day, a date, a specific time, or an event. Listen carefully. Since yesterday, since Monday, since 2022, since January, since breakfast, since childhood, since I was a kid, since we met.
All of those tell us exactly when something began.
Exactly. That's why native speakers use since. Ryan, how long have you had your phone?
I've had it since last year.
Great. How long have you known your best friend?
I've known him since middle school.
Excellent. Those are perfect answers.
Can we compare them? Of course. Listen carefully. I've lived here for 6 years. 6 years equals duration. I've lived here since 2020. 2020 equals starting point.
Same situation, different information.
Exactly. That's why native speakers choose different words. Complete the sentence. I've studied English, blank, 2023.
Since. I've studied English since 2023.
Perfect. Next one. We've been married, blank, June.
Since. We've been married since June.
Wonderful. You're learning fast.
Okay, now I finally understand. For tells me how long. Since tells me when something started. But then, what about ago? People say, I moved here 3 years ago. Why don't they use for or since?
Great question. Because ago doesn't connect the past to the present. It simply tells us how far back in time something happened. And that's exactly what we're learning next.
All right, everyone. Now let's learn our third word, ago.
This one feels different already.
That's because it is. Unlike for and since, the word ago only talks about the past. It tells us how far back in time something happened.
So it doesn't continue until now?
Exactly. Think of ago as answering one simple question. How long before now? I moved here 3 years ago.
The move happened 3 years before today.
Exactly. It's finished. It's in the past. Another example. I finished school 5 years ago.
Again, it's a completed action.
Perfect. More examples. We met 2 months ago. My flight landed an hour ago. She called me yesterday. No, actually, she called me 2 days ago. After ago, you'll usually hear 1 minute ago, 5 minutes ago, an hour ago. Yesterday? No, we don't say yesterday ago. 2 days ago, a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, a long time ago.
I love that expression. A long time ago. It sounds like every fairy tale begins that way.
You're right. Once upon a time, a long time ago. Ryan, when did you start learning English?
I started learning English 3 years ago.
Great. When did you buy your phone?
I bought it 6 months ago.
Excellent. Both answers tell us when something happened in the past.
Can we compare all 3 now?
Absolutely. Listen carefully. I've lived here for 6 years. Duration. I've lived here since 2020. Starting point. I moved here 6 years ago. A completed action in the past.
Wow. Those 3 sentences are connected, but each one tells a different story.
Exactly. That's why native speakers choose them so carefully. Complete the sentence. I met my best friend 5 years
Ago. I met my best friend 5 years ago.
Excellent. Next one. We bought this house 10 years
Ago. We bought this house 10 years ago.
Perfect. You're doing an amazing job.
Okay, now I understand each word by itself. For, since, ago. But I still want to compare all 3 in one real conversation.
Perfect. Because that's exactly what we're doing next. And after that, you'll never confuse these 3 words again.
All right, everyone. Now let's bring all 3 words together. because this is where everything finally becomes clear.
Good. I understand them one by one, but when I speak English, I still stop and think.
And that's completely normal. Let's look at one simple story. Imagine I moved to New York in 2020. Today is 2026. I can say, I moved to New York 6 years ago.
Because you're talking about one completed action in the past.
Exactly. Now I can also say, I've lived in New York for 6 years.
Because you're talking about the length of time.
Perfect. And finally, I've lived in New York since 2020.
Now you're telling us when everything started.
Exactly. 3 different sentences. One life, 3 different meanings. Let's make it even easier. 4. Answers. How long? Example, I've worked here for 5 years.
Since. Answers. Since when? Example, I've worked here since 2021.
Ago. Answers. How far back? Example, I started this job 5 years ago.
Wow, that's probably the easiest explanation I've ever heard.
Ryan, how long have you known your best friend?
I've known him for 10 years.
Since when?
Since elementary school.
When did you first meet?
We met 10 years ago.
Perfect. That's exactly how native speakers use these 3 words. Listeners, let's practice. Complete the sentence. I've been busy Monday.
Since.
I've been busy 3 days.
4.
I finished that project 3 days
Ago.
Excellent. You're getting better every minute.
I think I've finally stopped confusing these 3 words. But before we finish, can we do one last challenge?
Absolutely. Let's test everything you've learned today with a quick review and see if you're ready to use for, since, and ago like a native speaker. All right, everyone. It's time for our final challenge. Let's see how much you've learned today.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Complete the sentence. I've lived in this city, blank, 5 years.
4. I've lived in this city for 5 years.
Perfect, because we're talking about how long. Next one. I've lived in this city, blank, 2021.
Since. I've lived in this city since 2021.
Exactly, because 2021 is the starting point. Now this one. I moved here 5 years, blank.
Ago. I moved here 5 years ago.
Excellent. That's a completed action in the past. One more. We've known each other, blank, high school.
Since. We've known each other since high school.
Perfect. I waited, blank, 2 hours.
4. I waited for 2 hours.
Exactly. My train arrived 10 minutes, blank.
Ago. My train arrived 10 minutes ago.
Amazing. You got them all. Let's review everything one last time. 4. Use for to talk about duration. Ask yourself, how long? For example, I've studied English for 3 years.
Since. Use since to talk about a starting point. Ask yourself, since when? For example, I've studied English since 2023.
Ago. Use ago to talk about how far back something happened. For example, I started learning English 3 years ago.
That's actually much easier than I thought.
Exactly. Don't memorize long grammar rules. Instead, remember 3 simple questions. For? How long? Since? Since when? Ago? How far back? Those 3 questions make everything so much easier.
Before we finish today's lesson, we have a challenge for you. Write one sentence in the comments using for, since, or ago. It doesn't have to be perfect, just practice.
We'll read your comments, and it's a great way to improve your English.
If today's lesson helped you, please like this video and subscribe to Talk Bella. Every week, we create simple English lessons to help you speak naturally and confidently.
Thank you so much for learning with us today. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Because every mistake brings you one step closer to fluency.
See you in the next episode. Bye.